Ladies and gentlemen, it's your friend Mike Brady from Grand Voyage. Nice to see you all. Hope you can hear me okay. Give me a little shout out in the comments on the chat if you can hear me. You'll have to excuse me. I'm still getting over my my COVID. That really it got me. It got me this time. Yes, the last week I've had my feet up and you can probably still hear it in my voice. Anyway, we're getting there. Good to see you all. Thank you so much for joining. Good to see you guys. Everyone's piling in saying hi. We can hear you loud and clear. Good to see you, Ethan boy. How are you? Derpy Possum's here. The gang's all here. Lovely to see you. Well, welcome to the first ever dev stream for Oceanliner Designs Grand Voyage. And we're sitting here in the main menu, and we've got our creepy captain dude staring at us. That was a yeah, been a little bit sick. Back in action now. Thought we could have a little bit of a back and forth. I know you guys have got a lot of questions about Grand Voyage. We actually announced it now 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we've been cracking away at it in the background. I've been putting updates out on the website. We're just setting up some social media for the game as well, and we've got a lot of questions. Someone says, I hope you get back to 100% soon. Thank you very much. Ship Geek is shouting at me, show us the dust storm. So I guess people are excited about the weather functions of Grand Voyage. That's exciting. Feel free to ask questions in the chat, and I'll get around to answering some of them as they come through. I actually already have a few that are kind of ready to roll. Our community manager, Stacy, has been collating some of those and reading a lot of the comments you guys have been making. So we'll get around to answering those. But let's, first of all, step on board the Empress of Ireland and go to sea. And we're just going to set it to a... What do you think? A nice sunrise, maybe. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so here we are. Now... yeah, a lot of questions over the last couple of weeks, which is completely understandable because the trailer kind of outlined what it is that we're doing and what the game's meant to be about, but it didn't really go into a lot of detail about the functions and things like that. So I just thought I'd get in here and answer a few of the things. Now, the first thing that somebody asked here, J Ships has asked, will Olympic or Titanic ever be in the game? And this is a good question because, you know, the point of Grand Voyage is to bring history back to life and do it in an exciting way and feature a lot of different vehicles and things. So the reason I say vehicles is it's not just a ship game. We'll have anything that really kind of brought that, you know, that era of grand transatlantic, really, you know, or trans-ocean travel to life. So we've got plans for sailing ships. We've got plans for, yes, you know, some more kind of obscure vessels and things like, you know, people have been asking for Great Lakes ships. And, you know, those are things that we're keen on covering. The list is massive. So I won't really be answering questions on, will you do this ship? Will you do this ship? Will you do this ship? Because the list is so big. Now, we have confirmed off the bat that... one of the first ships we'll be doing post-launch is the Aquitania. That one's really important to all of us. We love the Aquitania. She's, yeah, we definitely fell in love with it when we were working on our video recently for the Oceanliner Designs channel. And so we're really keen to show off a lot of her interiors and what made her special. As well as the Aquitania, we'll be looking at getting out the Hungarian. Hungarian is a virtually forgotten 19th century steamship that was one of those early steamships that sprouted in the masts and things, and we're really excited to do Hungarian because her story's been forgotten and she was lost in a very dramatic way. And fortunately, our resident researcher and 3D modeler Liam Sharp is a massive Hungarian buff and has collected somehow a ton of original plans that haven't really seen the light of day for decades. Thanks very much to the generosity of a few museums who've helped him out, including some pretty rare stuff that gives us a look into this very obscure and interesting ship. So we'll be doing a lot of interiors and things, and I think Hungarian will be will be a really exciting... Oh, isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Wow. Um, that's what I love about this game, is like every angle you turn around, you see something new and exciting. Yeah, Hungarian is something we're really excited about because it's not, you know, it's virtually been forgotten about. Let's go ahead and stand on top of Monkey Island here. So, here's an interesting thing that's kind of driving development of this game, is things we're learning about these ships all the time. Now, at the moment, as you can see, the top of the Empress of Ireland here has got a big spotlight. It's got the compass and a binnacle and a helm down here on the deck. But they actually just photographed a teak wood platform that would have sat on top of the bridge somewhere around here, and that's missing from our model. So we're going to be including that in our release. And it was even photographed. They actually found it intact upside down on the bottom of the St. Lawrence River, which is really cool. So as we're making discoveries, as things are being found on these ships, we'll be able to update them and keep them relevant, because the beauty of this is that the plan is to launch the game and then have subsequent follow-up launches of new ships and things like that. So, which brings me to another question a lot of you have been asking about, the price. You know, how much is this going to cost? So it's not a free game. The base game will cost a certain amount, and you'll be able to download that from an online retailer. And then subsequent ships, you'll be able to then buy and kind of add to your collection, your own personal fleet of ships. So if there's one you're not particularly interested in, you can then add that to your fleet. Now, the subsequent ships down the line will be cheaper than the base game. So the base game is like, you know, you've bought in. It comes with Empress, Laconia, and R101. But then when we release Hungarian, or we release Aquitania, those will be things that you buy to add to your personal fleet, if that makes sense. Is it getting a little foggy? Oh, we've drifted into a fog bank, which is a little spooky. Cool. Interesting. As you can see, the weather is dynamic. And it changes. It changes all the time. So you can be walking around. It was just a beautiful, nice, sunny morning, and now we have sailed into fog. Let's go down to the bow section and have a look. So people are asking about specific ships, and one of them that they're asking about, obviously, is the Titanic and the Olympic. Now, we have a very close partnership and working relationship with the video game Titanic Honor and Glory. And they are working on a very exciting Titanic experience coming up in the next couple of months. They've been releasing a lot of updates. They'll continue to update that. We will be supporting them in wherever we can, and they help us out. They've already provided a lot of advice to our team while we've been programming and kind of putting this together. So we're really thankful to them. So at least for the foreseeable future, Titanic is not something we'll be tackling for Grand Voyage. But the Olympic class will make its way into the game, just in ways you may not expect. A lot of people ask for Titanic, Olympic, Britannicus, you know, Titanic sister ships. And we've got some plans, but I won't spoil the fun just yet. Here we are sailing through this fog bank here. It's a little bit creepy. I don't know. I don't like fog. You can't really see anything. We'll change the weather to something a little more. There we go. That's what we wanted. Much better. Perfect. We've even got a little rainbow. Look at that. Yeah, the mist rolling along the deck. Derpy Possums just picked that up. Yeah, so we actually have volumetric fog. I'll show you something in a minute if I remember. We'll go to the dry dock and turn fog on. It's kind of spooky and very Victorian. It's quite cool. So, Olympic and Titanic. Titanic, no plans for the near future. A lot of people have been asking about Lusitania. They spotted a Cunarder in our cover art, our hero image. Will Lusitania be in the game? Yes, eventually we will have to do Lusitania and or Mauritania. You know, they are two of the most famous ships of all time. We all love Lusitania. Obviously, she's, by my reckoning, maybe the second or third most famous ship ever built. So there is another project being worked on at the moment on Lusitania, made by the HFX Studio team, Tom Linsky, Levi Rourke, those guys, working with historians from the On a Sea of Glass team. That will be an experience focusing on Lusitania, which is my understanding. And actually, Liam and I helped on that project a little bit. So, well, Liam modeled the interiors and I did some of the exterior work. So keep an eye on that project for your Lusitania fix in the foreseeable future. Again, it's not, you know, like Titanic Honor and Glory, we're not really coming at projects and saying we're going to get this done first before you guys. So keep an eye on their social medias, because they'll have a really cool Lusitania experience. And then down the line, when we get to Lusitania, we'll do it in a, you know, in a different way. So keep an eye on that. So aside from Olympic, Titanic, and Lusitania, I'm really not going to be commenting on will we do this, because I want to do every ship. I cannot clarify enough. I would love to do every ship that was ever built. Excuse me for a minute, because I just have to cough and I don't want to deafen you. One sec. Okay, we're back. Sorry, just COVID things. You know, we've put Empress of Ireland and Laconia and R101 in the game off the bat. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Oh, actually, look at this. If you set the weather, the daytime to about... I just love this time of day when you just get this shadow across the promenade deck. Look at that. About there. Gorgeous. Man. Just showing off our casual real-time weather and lighting system. No stress. Yeah, you know, I want to do every ship. So it makes it a little bit difficult for me to say, hey, yeah, we're going to do this ship, we're going to do this ship. But Aquitania will be an interesting one. So another thing people have been asking about is what makes this different from some of the other projects that I mentioned, you know, like HFX's Lusitania, Titanic Honor and Glory. You know, those are projects focusing on specific ships. And what we wanted to do here is actually, instead of fully recreating the interior of a ship, fully recreating any ship in particular, we want to give you like a tasting board of all these different experiences. And the Empress of Ireland is a very specific vessel. She was made to sail from Quebec to Liverpool in the early 1900s. Makes her very, very different from the Queen Mary or the Aquitania or the Hungarian, or all these different ships. Strathnaver, you know, I'm really keen on covering some of the Strath ships eventually, because, you know, they carried my family out to Australia and they've got a completely different atmosphere. And this game is all about recreating atmosphere. It's all about a learning opportunity and but recreating what it must have been like. And to be honest with you, this is the kind of experience that you can put up, if you have the technology, on your TV, turn the volume up, and just let it run, and just sit back and have a coffee or do some reading, because you know that you can just... I could probably, honestly, just stare at that all day. As ridiculous as that sounds. So, let's head down to the bow section. So, yeah, it is a very atmospheric, sound-focused. We haven't really got to show off the sound much, but I'm probably planning on releasing some videos over the next few weeks while we do some updating. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. Focusing on the sound and making the game, kind of showing you how it comes to life, and it's really kind of a immersive experience, which is cool. Jaden Madrid says, will there be somewhere where you can read about the history of the ships in-game? So this is one of the things that we're working on at the moment. People have asked, you know, is this a video game or is it a virtual museum experience? Look, it is a virtual museum experience. You can walk around the ships. You can't control them. You know, it's unfortunately, there are some limitations here that are even now outside the bounds of technology. And having very complicated, detailed models like this that you can then drive around is very difficult. So that's out for the time being. What we can do, though, is take these ships and fill them with goodies. And this is one of the things we're working on now, is filling these ships with 3D props and things that tell the story at different stages of its life. So as you guys will have seen, there are 3 levels for each vessel, including the dry dock, the dockside, and then the at-sea level. And each one of those will tell a different part of the story. And so we'll have different props and things set up. See, at the moment, this is the Empress in her kind of stock build because this is early alpha. But this little kind of spot here, there are photographs of, there were deck chairs laid out here, people sitting down and reading, things thrown over them, that then at nighttime would be folded up and stacked against the bulkhead here. So you can expect to differentiate levels and create a different kind of atmosphere and experience at sea in this level. You can imagine the deck chairs laid out, maybe belongings from famous passengers that you can interact with and learn about their history. But then maybe at the dry dock level, if the ship's being worked on, those deck chairs would be stacked up against the bulkhead. Little things like that that tell the story of the different stages of the ship's life. The new IKB asks, will there be big waves? Unfortunately, this is one of the things that... well, look, interiors. This is one of the things that, again, we're limited by technology here. I think some of you guys will have seen, and I will set a storm up real quick to demonstrate this, that at the moment, the sea is in a pretty still state. Now, the ship isn't rocking and rolling, and there's a really simple reason for this, and it's because... That was dramatic. Perfect punctuation. Thank you, Sky. It's because these models are really complicated, and they're very detailed, and they're full of lots of 3D, individual pieces and components. Like, if we actually walk down to this deck winch here, if we actually set it to partial cloud day, you'll see that there's all these nuts and bolts and things and really, really specific little details. And then making that move would immediately crash the game because of the computational requirements for any computer to actually be able to do that. So for the time being, and this is actually something we're investigating, where we will be actively looking at solving, we would love to have these ships rocking and rolling. But for the time being... Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. Oh, man. For the time being, we'll be looking at just this kind of, ocean state. We'll see how we go. It's these little things are difficult to do. Unfortunately, I'm not the game's developer personally. That would be Matt Hughes. There are certain things I can't comment very, very astutely on as far as the reason why we can and can't do things. But yeah, having a realistic ocean state is obviously at the top of my wish list, but is a little bit more difficult to do. What about pivoting the character, changing gravity and the waterline? Yeah, these are all things we're experimenting with. You can make the ocean move around the ship, and that would kind of give an illusion of movement. If you Matt has implemented a simple thing, like if you notice when you walk, there's a slight rocking to kind of simulate that you're not quite sure on your feet when you move kind of sensation, which is quite cool. Change it to a nice sunny day. There we go. Brilliant. Yeah, epic rainbow. Jake saying, do you want to show us the R101? Look, R101 is still in a state of development. What we've just done is imported some test models in. We've got one of the levels set up where you can actually visit the R101 at RAF Cardington, which is the airbase. And that's something we'll be showing in a near future update. That actually brings me to another question. Historical environments. And on that point, why don't we go to the dry dock and I'll show you that thing I was just telling you about. Excuse me for one sec. This COVID thing is really... Sorry about that. Oh, look, our captain friend's getting snowed on. Yeah, see, it's still locked out in menu. This is a slightly older dev build, so this still isn't, things have progressed since here. But I'll show you something cool when we go to the dry dock. Oh, I just went to the dock side. That's not where I wanted to go. Oh, well, this will do for now. Oh, hey, Gary. Oh, that was cool. Spooky. historic environments. See, where we are right now, this is the Liverpool dock stage, and this is a historic environment. This is a real place. And oh, thanks guys. You're all saying please get completely well. Thank you. We'll get there. You know, this is a real place, and for a while there, we weren't totally convinced that we would be doing real world environments, but I think it adds a lot to the world. We'll just set this to a less hectic environment. It adds a lot, I think, to have real world, you know, environments and real world places. Matt did a great job of setting up Liverpool, and we'll continue working on this and making it, you know, even more authentic yet. And you can imagine when we have people walking around here, it's really going to add a lot. Let's jump in this little motor launch and go for a ride. It's got a little steam horn as well. You guys won't be able to hear it, I don't think. But, so we will be working on some actual authentic environments. Liverpool's the first one, but you can imagine, you know, the Empress of Ireland operated out of Liverpool. Laconia did not. Laconia, when she was a cruise ship, very briefly operated out of Southampton. So, therefore, it stands to reason that we would make a recreation of Southampton docks that is era appropriate. Magic levitation skills. What do you mean? I'm not levitating. I'm in a boat. Another thing, you know, the exterior model here is as it was when this model was made for my video, and we're in the process of up detailing all of our models. And one of the things that I'm going to be working on is a texture for this hull, you know, hull plates, rivets, that kind of thing, to really bring it to another kind of like level of authenticity. So to be able to sail out here and see these beautiful details. So there's a lot of things being worked on in the background. Yeah, Jason Gagnon just said that he loves the feeling of size. And that I think is something that really sells this. It's like, you're so used to seeing these things from very far away. You know what I mean? In photographs, they almost look small. But then in real life, you know, this is not a massive ship by any means. A 14,000-ton ship, you know, it's decent size, but not monumental. You know, Titanic was like 3 or 4 times the size of this, and then Queen Mary was almost double the size of that. You imagine what it's going to be like when we have the superliners in game. They're really towering over you. And even airships. You know, the R101, the Hindenburg was bigger in length than the Empress of Ireland by far. So you imagine this monstrous thing. So that's what we're really excited about. Yeah, I agree with you. I love how it just kind of like looms over you like this. It's very cool. What's the name of the ship behind the Empress of Ireland? The SS Generic. It's White Star Line ship. Not many people have heard of the Generic. That was a joke. No, I think it's just a... I don't know if it's real. You really want to see the ship behind the Empress of Ireland. All right, let's go have a look. Let's go have a little explore. What do you think? There you go. Here's a trivia question for you. What's that one? Looks like a single funnel Cunarder. Let's go for a little explore. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we're working on in the background. Can we have a closer look? Full interiors for the ships, WB says. No, we're not doing full interiors. You know, that's a step above what we're trying to do here. We are really just trying to recreate some of the spaces that would give you the best kind of feel for the character of these ships. There you go. Here's a nice little close-up of our friendly neighborhood cargo ship. Maybe it's the Scythia. Yeah, I'm not sure. She's fast, though. Let's turn back around. Oh. We've got a little list to port on our steam launch here. This was a fun little idea, because one of my favorite pictures is of Olympic after a collision with Hawk, and there's some guy just tearing around on a little steam launch just like this, and I thought, wouldn't that be great? And then Matt, the dev, I just said, Matt, can you just put a steam launch in the game for us? And he was like, oh yeah, like it was nothing. Let's change the weather. Partial cloud. How cool is that? I'll never get tired of doing that. Isn't that awesome? Man, very cool. A lot of people commented and said the Mersey was never this blue. A lot of Liverpudlians said that it never looked like this. So we hear you. We may yet, we may yet make things a little bit muddier. We'll see. So yeah, we'll be doing interiors for ships that bring to life the character. You know, like the Empress's real crowning glory was its music room. And I can say that the music room is fully modeled. The cafe below it is fully modeled. Then the dining saloon. These three rooms are all stacked on top of each other like a layer cake. And these interiors are almost finished. And we can't wait to show them off in an update real soon. And we were actually just taking on some texture artists now to help us with the intricate wooden paneling and the detailing and all of this. You'll be able to seamlessly walk from the outside of the ship into the rooms, experience them. We'll be filling them with people, and there'll be music, and it'll bring to life what it must have felt like to be on that ship in that moment. What we won't be doing is every linen closet, because it's just outside of our team's capability, and we want to play to our strengths. We don't want to overpromise anything. We would hate to be in that position. A lot of indie games fall into a situation where there have been a lot of projects, goodness knows, that aren't ship-related, that promise a lot, and then can't deliver on those promises. So, another thing you will have noticed if you looked at the... Elizabeth Morgan says, never realized that the Empress of Ireland was so beautiful. Yeah. Let's go to the shipyard now. See, this is kind of like a test environment that we built for the Empress and for Laconia. Now, those mountain ranges, not very Liverpool, not very Quebec, right? So, this environment worked really well as a test bed, but what we are going to be doing is making some more historically authentic environments. One thing I'm really keen on personally is the floating dry dock at Southampton, where famously, Olympic and Aquitania were photographed. We're really keen to show that off. That'll be a very unique experience because you're going to be at water level, but the ship will be towering over you. That'll be very cool. One thing, someone's just asked, will there be early access playtests? So we do have a testing regimen kind of that we're establishing. I'm going to head down here. Whoever said a little earlier that they love the size situation, you'll love this. This is cool. I love this view. And then watch this. We'll set it to nighttime, right? So all the lights come on. There's these big spotlights lighting up the ship. We'll go and have a look at. Stand back here. And then we'll turn on fog. And suddenly we've made a Victorian indie horror game. Look at that. Yeah, amazing, isn't it? Look at the size of this thing. I forgot what I was saying. I forget. Cool, huh? So there's a lot of these kind of unique, atmospheric environments that bring the ship to life. Let's go and have a little walk around the Empress's decks, shall we? You see those big spotlights up there? A couple of people are asking about Steam Deck, console support, and things like that. I would love nothing more than for console VR. We're just approaching it pretty much as we get to it. So at the moment, the game is... Oh, look, there's a lifeboat. the priority is really just getting this done for PC. But I'm really happy to kind of tell you guys that we've just taken on some people with real-world video games experience. We've got a senior QA analyst who stepped aboard to help us with the testing progress and that whole the quality assurance to make sure that the game that we make is kind of what we promise and what we actually deliver. That's a very important part of the project and part of the process. But the other thing that we're doing is taking on programmers. We just took on someone has joined us and stepping aboard to see if they can help out with coding the engine, optimizing, and then maybe even down the line looking at console support and a VR. VR is something we'd really love to do. Again, it's not something I can say this will be included at launch or this is definitely something that we're doing, but I can tell you it is something we will be investigating and looking at, because this is kind of like a given for a VR experience, right? Actually being able to look up at these ships. Someone was asking about early access. That's what I was going to talk about. So there's our fog. Oh man, creepy, huh? Kind of turns it into a Victorian indie horror game. So it's funny, even just like this, even just with you know, very basic function, you know, a weather system. This is insanely fun to just walk around and play with. Let's get up here, and we'll head down to the bow section and look up at it. So one of the things that we're looking at is testing and some of the social aspects of Grand Voyage. And so what we're really keen on doing is setting up a Patreon for this project. Now, we're not planning on going around and rattling the can and saying, we need you guys to bring this project to completion, because I'm happy to tell you this is all fully self-funded. This is mostly funded by the Oceanliner Designs channel. So any of the revenue coming from that, I'm really pretty much putting into Grand Voyage, and we'll continue to do so. So we don't need community support to bring something to completion. But that said, a Patreon is a really good way of engaging deeper with the project, getting things like early access if you want to actually contribute. And so what we're planning on doing is setting up a Patreon with a very small offering. Beta testing is not something that will be on that. We actually have quite a significant beta test pool already. There are some kind of long-standing Oceanliner Designs patrons who've been with me for, you know, a little while now that will be at the top of that list, and we'll get some viewpoints from people who aren't really that interested in ships as well, which will be cool. So we'll be working through that list and getting our testers from there. But I think early access will be something that I would be happy to include as part of the patron offering for Grand Voyage. So keep an eye on that. We probably plan on releasing the Grand Voyage Patreon in the next couple of next week or two. I would even think. Yeah, it's not about needing, you know, like I said, rattling the tin, saying, hey, can you guys pay us to bring this to completion? What we're actually looking at doing is bringing on some like volunteer researchers and people who actually just want to help without necessarily, you know, getting a full-time role with us, that just want to contribute. And then what could be a nice option is to take funds from the Patreon and allocate them around the team as kind of like a bonus, and then maybe look at buying things like NPC support, some other plugins, assets, and things like that. So it would look, of course, it would be a huge help. But that said, I would look at the Patreon as us saying, we're relying on you to fund Grand Voyage, because as you can see, we're doing all right. We've put something together that we're all pretty proud of, and she's getting there. Is the game going to have free cam? Yeah, it's again something we're experimenting with. There's a lot of things that we're working on. I think it's something I want to play with. It's something I'm personally not that interested in, and therefore maybe, you know, I haven't really given it serious thought. But if enough people ask about it, then we'll put it into action. I just love this kind of like first-person viewpoint. You know what I mean? I love getting up close and personal with it. If you kind of come under here and look at this anchor, it's quite cool. Look at this. I love these views. You know, it's such a unique viewpoint. You know, when was the last time somebody saw this? Right? It's amazing. Oh, we've got daytime still running. Daytime ticking. We'll put it about there. Will there be a screenshot function? I've already seen so many shots I'd love to have as a computer background. Yeah, it is like that, isn't it? It really... as a joke, we've been calling it like screenshot simulator or generator because it's just so like, you know, there are just so many angles and views. You imagine when Aquitania is sitting in this dry dock and she's like 2 or 3 times the size of the Empress of Ireland. That'll be a sight. Yeah, we're going to be working on that. Mr. Shai says we'll be creating other port environments. Yes, yeah, we'll be looking at adding some more historically accurate environments as well. For example, you know, I would personally love to have the Strathnaver, or one of those P&O ships, in Sydney Harbour or in Melbourne in the 30s. I think would be really cool because, you know, it's kind of personal to me and it's a completely different environment. You know, it's not transatlantic. These are ships that operated out to the Pacific. It'll be a very interesting change, a very unique kind of environment. You know, the Hindenburg, not in Lakehurst, New Jersey, but maybe, you know, and I think they were operating out of Friedrichshafen in Germany, you know, or any of the German fields and kind of making those in a realistic way. So the German field will feel completely different to RAF Cardington, where the R101 is tied up, where you can go and experience that. Would be really cool. So that's why we're looking at other environments to really kind of sell this as like, you're not just in a virtual recreation of the ship, you're there. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to run through a few more of the questions that people have been asking. I can see some others coming through on the chat, and I'll get to a few of those. Beta testing, I think I've already covered. We've got a pretty decent pool at the moment. I haven't set a release date for this yet, as you guys know, but we'll be probably looking at getting into the testing stage early next year with any luck. Can people offer assistance for specific ships? Yeah, look, we've got a website, grandvoyagegame.com, that has a kind of join the team function where you can send us in a contact form. That's actually how a few new team members have joined. And we'll hopefully be getting them in future, maybe for a stream, so you can meet them. Feel free to toss your hat in the ring. And if you are a 3D modeler or you are a researcher or you've got specific knowledge, please go ahead and get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. Mod support, you know, will you be able to make mods for Grand Voyage? It's not something that's at the top of our list yet, but again, it's just one of those things. If there's enough people kind of clamoring for it, we'll see maybe what we can do in that regard. What other spaces will be available? Will there be engine rooms? Yeah, I mean, that's something I'd love personally to include, being an engineering nerd. To be seen. I mean, we've got some pretty talented modelers who've reached out who specialize in engineering spaces. And it's all about kind of getting those people with specific areas of interest to come in and help out with the project. So we'll keep you updated on that one. Will there be different character models? Yeah, look, we're the other thing that we're working on at the moment is getting as many kind of realistic people as we can for this experience. We want to get the various different classes. We want to have people walking the ship, maybe just sitting down, reading, that kind of thing. So stands to reason that there should be some kind of character selection. Again, I don't want to feature creep here. I can just hear Matt, the developer, screaming at the screen. But we'll look at what we can do. So before we finish up, it was only a short 45 minutes. I just wanted to see if there are any last questions that I hadn't covered. I'd love to see Lusitania's engine room. Will there be a multiplayer? You know, it's my dream to one day have an experience where you can get your friends in for an actual Atlantic voyage where maybe a single day of crossing is like an hour and there are mini games like shuffleboard and things like that. You know, that's something I would love to build towards. This experience as it is a single player only virtual museum, learn about the ships, experience them in different environments kind of experience. But I feel like you guys have already clocked that. You already know about that. That's not the end of the story. You know, I think there'll be other opportunities for us to kind of like push this in a different direction a little further down the line. But for the time being, our priority is getting you a product that is polished, that is finished, that is free of bugs, that works, and that will be the basis for future development. And I'm not ruling out some kind of multiplayer experience because, you know, having proximity voice chat, be able to walk around the ship, talk with your friends, and actually experience a crossing, a voyage on an ocean liner of your choice is kind of the dream for a lot of people who are interested in this stuff. Or you know, an airship crossing, for instance, would be quite cool. So, Josh is saying, is there a rough launch date for the game? Yeah, we're looking at 2024, probably most realistically the mid 2024 mark, maybe around summer. There's just a lot goes into this, and also, mind you, there's a lot of things that, like, you know, I'm not a video game developer. I'm the producer and the creative director for the project, so I kind of come up with the ideas and say, hey, can we do this? And then it's up to the dev team to say, no, you're insane, or yes, we can do that, but it will take time. Fortunately, I think taking in people who have video game industry experience has helped us a lot, and they've also brought in some things and said, have you thought about this thing? For example, localization. I was just having a chat with our QA analyst last night, and she was talking about the whole localization process. How do you get a game that is made in English and then package it for other environments? Like, for example, you know, Germany or Spain, will it be translated? Will voice lines be translated? What about the text? Who's going to be translating that? What about cultural sensitivity? There are things like, for example, the Hindenburg, were you to make the Hindenburg historically accurate, there would be markings on the Hindenburg that many would find offensive and that you actually couldn't sell the product in Germany. So how do you deal with that? There's a lot of things that come into it that I certainly wouldn't have thought of. So that's why, yeah, we're outsourcing a lot of knowledge in video game development, because, yeah, we don't want to run afoul of being enthusiasts, putting something together, and then kind of biting off more than we can chew. Yeah, a lot of you guys are asking about the Hindenburg. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a Hindenburg tragic. I'm fascinated by it. Will Hindenburg be in the game? Hopefully, if we can bring it to a stage that we're happy with, if the airship concept is proved, R101 works well, and our modelers haven't gone insane by then it stands to reason that Hindenburg will be there. I haven't shown off any interiors yet. You guys will have noticed. We're still working on them. We're still testing them. We've got some staircases in the Empress here, but we don't want to show them off just yet. We want to save that for a special day, for a special update. I think being able to walk through the stairs into the music room, when we have that properly installed, we've actually just put it in engine for the first time this week, and it's running really nicely. It looks spectacular. I just cannot wait for you guys to see this. I don't know if you've ever seen the Empress of Ireland's music room. It has this crazy dome, this massive glass dome that was part of a ventilation system that then leads down into the dining saloon. The Laconia has been up-detailed superbly. Lucas, the 3D modeler, has been working really, really hard on getting it as detailed as possible, and we've got some interiors in Laconia. The ocean bar has been installed, where passengers would have been able to get a drink on what would have once been the promenade deck. We're looking at putting some really interesting interiors in Laconia as well. Elizabeth Morgan says, do you think Imperator would be historically important enough to put in the game? Yeah. Unfortunately, as they're saying, he wants to do every ship. He does. I do want to do every ship. Of course, Imperator was important enough. Yeah. We do. It's interesting that the first batch of ships that we're doing are mostly British. Empress of Ireland, R101, Aquitania, even Laconia she was Dutch built, but a Greek-British shipping interest. So we're pretty keen to do something non-British after Aquitania and Hungarian. And I won't tell you exactly what ship we're thinking, but it's sounding a little French, is all I will say. But it stands to reason German ships will definitely make their way in, because they're all so different, you know, they've all got such a unique feel. Do I see the SS United States being added? Yeah, listen, again, I can't say, because there's just so many. You know, I can't tell you, yeah, we're having this ship or we're having this ship. Orion Taylor says, how much would the devs hate you to do the interiors of the 1912 France? Yeah, we were joking about that, actually. A lot of those interiors are insane. So there you go. I hope this has kind of answered some of those preliminary questions. This is more like a casual chat. You know, I'm out of uniform. You know, this has been fun just hanging out with you guys and answering some of your questions. I think in future we'll maybe have a little bit more structure. I can maybe show you a little bit more. We're really still bringing things together for the experience. I'll put out some more updates over the next week or two, showing off probably a little bit more of the ambient environment so you can hear the game. I think the sound is probably the most important thing, and you guys haven't yet been able to hear how beautiful the storms sound, how relaxing it is at sea. So I'll put something together for you guys that really kind of help you with the, really sell that ambient experience, which would be quite cool. Well, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I hope this was a little bit interesting. I hope it answered some of your questions. Obviously, there's still a lot of work to do. The thing I'm most excited about putting in now is probably like gamifying the experience a bit more, because at the moment, yeah, it's a beautiful recreation of these ships. Environmentally, it's fantastic. It's a great proof of concept. Now what we need to do is fill this out and make it feel a little bit more alive. Put in a lot of those props that we were talking about, a lot of the interactive moments, being able to actually interact with your environment a bit more and do some things. I think the boat, the sailing boat, the steam launch was a great demonstration of being able to interact with your environment. This is a really great example here of some of the storytelling that we'll kind of be doing for different environments. You know, this is the shipyard where the ship is being worked on, and they've got some of the boats swung out, testing falls and davits and things like that. Goose Hub is asking, how much will it cost? To be decided. We're working on, I've got some idea. I have put together a kind of a business model and a business case for this that of course covers costs, but until we have something that's probably at the beta stage, I'm not comfortable talking about cost yet, but I can tell you it will be less than what you would expect from AAA titles. So don't be fearing that you'll have to destroy your bank account to play this. Very cool. Well, look, guys, great chatting with you all. I hope you've found this interesting. Please, if you've got more comments or questions, head over to the Oceanliner Designs Discord. I know there's a couple of mods in the stream right now who probably post a link to the Discord. Feel free to jump on in. We do have a thread there for questions. You can just pop on in and ask those, and one of the dev team will see about answering it if we can. We'll do another stream in probably the next month or so. This is a pretty crucial stage of the game's development because we're adding a lot. We're putting in a lot of 3D models. We're sourcing the people. We're getting new modelers in. This team will grow significantly. I think at the moment it's already about 10 or 15 people large, but what we're trying to do is get more modelers involved. The 3D modeling is a difficult task. It's lengthy. It takes a lot of time. Again, like I said, if you've got experienced 3D modeling, you're interested in working on a project like this, please reach out to us on the website. You can go and select the Join the Team button there. We'd love to talk to you about the work that you're doing and see if this is a project you want to work on. It's all paid work. You know, none of us here is just a volunteer. So please feel free to reach out if you'd like a paid hobby. Feel free to drop any questions. It's been great speaking with you all. Have a lovely week and a lovely month. Hopefully next time we do a stream, I'll be not sniffly and sounding like I'm sick. If you've got any other comments or questions, go ahead and pop them in the comments of this video, which will go up after the live stream is finished, because it'd be great getting your thoughts, and then we'll get our community manager, Stacey, answering some of your questions if we can, and just engaging with you guys. So until then, yeah, again, thanks so much for your lovely comments. I think we've been blown away. We were so excited to show you this project. The day of the announcement, actually, we were all in a team call, the whole team, you know, and some of the Titanic Honor and Glory guys showed up as well. And we were just giggling like school kids as that countdown timer was ticking away and no one knew what was about to happen. We just knew what you're about to be hit with, and we were all very excited. So yeah, we were really, really happy to read a lot of your positive comments and feedback. So thanks so much. Keep it coming. We love to hear from you guys. So until next time, please stay safe and stay happy. And we will see you again soon. Thanks so much. Leave some comments, give us a like. See you later. Bye, guys.